Once upon a time, in a sprawling world of towering forests and endless skies, there lived a man named Ivor. He was no bigger than a thumb, a mere speck in the grand tapestry of existence. Despite his small stature, Ivor had a heart full of dreams. Yet his life was a harsh one, dictated by his diminutive size. The forest floor was his domain, but also his battlefield. Leaves were like forests, raindrops were torrential, and insects were both foes and fears. His constant struggle was survival, finding food to quell the hunger that gnawed at his tiny frame. His attempts to hunt or gather were often thwarted by creatures far stronger and larger than himself. Days turned into nights of despair, and Ivor often wondered if he'd ever escape his cycle of poverty and longing. One fateful morning, as he scavenged for food near a sparkling brook, the earth beneath him began to tremble. At first, he thought it was a predator, but then a gentle breeze wafted through the air, carrying the scent of wildflowers. Looking up, Ivor's jaw dropped. Towering above him was a being of ethereal beauty, a giantess, glowing like the morning sun. Her golden hair cascaded like waterfalls, shimmering in the light, and her emerald eyes sparkled with warmth and wisdom. She was no mere giant. To Ivor, she was a goddess. Ivor was captivated. The sheer size of her was overwhelming, yet her presence exuded a soothing calm. She walked with deliberate grace, her bare feet brushing against the forest floor, as if she were careful not to harm even the smallest creatures. Ivor felt an inexplicable pull toward her. For hours, he followed her from a distance, his heart pounding in his chest. He admired the way she moved, her soft laughter as she hummed to herself, and the kindness in her eyes when she stopped to help an injured bird or pluck berries from a tree. She was everything he had ever dreamed of, gentle, beautiful, and otherworldly. Eventually, the giantess paused. She tilted her head, her ears twitching slightly. I sensed someone nearby," she murmured. She turned slowly, her piercing green eyes locking onto Ivor's tiny form. Ivor froze, his face flushing as red as a ripe berry. He had been discovered. "Well, what do we have here?" the giantess asked, kneeling down to get a closer look at him. Her voice was soft and melodic, like a lullaby carried on the wind. I'm sorry," Ivor stammered, backing away. "I didn't mean to bother you." "Bother me," she said with a laugh, her expression softening. "You're no bother at all, little one. What's your name?" I'm Ivor," he managed to say. "Well, Ivor," she said with a smile, "you're quite brave to approach someone as large as me. What brings you here?" Hesitantly, Ivor explained his struggles, his hunger, his inability to find food, and his fascination with her. He admitted he had been following her because she seemed so kind and beautiful. The giantess listened intently, her eyes filled with compassion. "I am Lyria," she said, offering him a finger as though to shake his hand. "I think I can help you." From that day forward, Ivor became Lyria's constant companion. At first, she carried him gently in her palm, cradling him like a precious treasure. But as their journey continued, she suggested a more unconventional solution. "Why don't you rest inside me?" Lyria said one day, her tone casual. "I can keep you safe, and you won't have to walk so far. Plus, I can eat the things you like, so you'll never go hungry." Ivor blinked up at her, his cheeks flushing. "Inside you? Don't be shy," she said with a laugh. "I promise it's safe and cozy. I'll even keep talking to you, so you don't feel alone." Tentatively, Ivor agreed. Lyria lifted him carefully and placed him inside her mouth, swallowing him whole. Though the experience was strange, he quickly discovered it was as she said. Warm, safe, and oddly comforting. Lyria's voice resonated all around him, and they carried on their conversations as though nothing had changed. To ensure he had something to enjoy, Lyria made a habit of eating delicious treats, berries, honeycombs, and baked goods she purchased from villages. "How's the flavor?" she'd ask, laughing as his voice echoed from inside her. "Perfect," he'd reply. "You always know what I like." As the days turned into weeks, Ivor found himself falling deeply in love with Lyria. Her kindness, her laughter, and the gentle way she cared for him melted his heart. But he kept his feelings hidden, convinced that someone as grand and divine as her could never love someone as small and insignificant as him. Unbeknownst to him, Lyria was growing equally fond of her tiny companion. She adored his courage, his wit, and the way his shyness made him blush whenever she teased him. To her, Ivor was more than just a companion. He was a light in her life, a reminder of the beauty in even the smallest of things. One afternoon, while resting by a tranquil lake, Lyria struck up a conversation with another giantess who had come to visit her. Ivor, nestled quietly inside her stomach, listened as they spoke. "There's someone traveling with me," Lyria said, her voice soft and thoughtful. "He's so small, but he has the biggest heart. I've grown so fond of him. I think I'm in love." Inside her, Ivor's heart leapt. Overcome with emotion, he shouted, "You love me?" Lyria gasped, realizing he had overheard. She laughed, her cheeks turning a soft pink. "Yes, Ivor, I do. And what about you?" "I've loved you from the moment I saw you," he confessed. "I've just never thought you could feel the same." Their love, once hidden, now blossomed in full view. Creatures of all sizes came to witness their union, from tiny ants to towering giants. Under the light of a full moon, Lyria and Ivor exchanged vows, promising to cherish each other for all eternity. Despite their vast differences, their love was proof that even the smallest hearts could hold the greatest dreams. Together, they journeyed through the world, a goddess and her beloved, their bond unbreakable and their love everlasting.